Okay, so this was Toure show. He did a 17-minute video about me. I didn't I didn't get to watch it, but I'm excited.
They love Hasan Piker.
Israel is an extension of American empire. Israel is not a separate entity from the United States of America. There's a reason for why Israel is this malignant force in the region, this violent entity in the region, a constant destabilizing force in the region, and that is because it corresponds to the American grand design in this resource-rich region. Israel is a attack dog for American empire here.
A bunch of Democrats say Democrats should shun Piker because he's bad for the party. He's a loose cannon. He says wild stuff that's crazy.
Let's be clear, Hasan is radical. He says things that are indefensible, and he's definitely a wild card.
Some Democrats are trying to cancel Hasan Piker, and that could have huge consequences for the Democratic Party. He's been accused of making anti-Semitic comments, calling Orthodox Jews inbred, and for defending Hamas. Piker denies he's anti-Semitic, saying that his criticisms are focused solely on the Israeli government and Zionism, not Jewish people as a whole. But the centrist think tank Third Way sent a memo urging Democratic leaders to distance themselves from left-wing voices like Piker. They even called him anti-American, saying that he's...
I like that TikTokers have a better style guide than virtually every mainstream legacy publisher, because like this guy literally says centrist think tank. Every legacy publisher refers to Third Way as a left-leaning think tank. It's not true. It's a centrist think tank. It's a center-right think tank.
no different from ultra-right-wing streamers like Nick Fuentes.
Hasan Piker doesn't actually belong in the pro-democracy coalition. He's an illiberal guy. He's a China, Russia sympathizer who hates women, hates Israel. Like, he's all the toxic things.
At the end of the day, the real problem that is being presented here is Israel. They don't like that there are loud, outspoken anti-Zionist voices that Democratic politicians are hearing from. And they want to desperately gatekeep who their politicians speak to and listen to. They're actively trying to turn someone like myself into a toxic person within the party. The only thing that is correct about this assessment is that I am vulgar. But that's just who I am. I'm a vulgar person, and I think that's still infinitely better than being a civil war criminal. Being a civil person that defends war crimes or defends war criminals is, in my opinion, far worse than being a vulgar person that is on the side of justice and on the side of truth.
Does this man look bad for the party?
Every single dollar that is spent on a bomb is stolen from each and every one of you, because that's a dollar that they spend blowing up a school overseas instead of building schools in your neighborhoods.
You want to know the worst possible outcome for 2028? Tucker Carlson runs on an anti-Israel platform, and the Democrats put forward a pro-liberal Zionist, pro-defending America's military might candidate. Tucker Carlson wins by Ronald Reagan numbers. The Democratic Party is done. The next wave of fascism is here. That's what I'm afraid of. Tucker Carlson versus Gavin Newsom is unlimited Tucker Carlson victory. This is why I've been trying to urge Democrats to take a stronger stance against Israel. You cannot have a guy like Tucker Carlson lead the conversation on Israel. The Democrats, as a national party, have to universally oppose Israel. If you don't do that, a guy like Tucker Carlson, who has been leading the conversation for normies on the issue of Israel, will come out and destroy you.
What is Piker really about? He's a very articulate, well-read, intellectual, good-looking, manly star of the far-left media ecosphere. When the left said, we need our own Joe Rogan, here's a charismatic, masculine, progressive media star. Is that not the left's Joe Rogan? As if that's what the left needs. Piker's on the far left, like he's a fan of Bernie, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar. He's for Medicare for all, taxing the wealthy, free public transit, affordable housing, radical lefty stuff. He thinks Iran should have a nuclear weapon because that would keep other countries from attacking it.
I think they should have nukes. If they had nukes, it would be like North Korea. Every country in the aftermath of the dissolution of the USSR, where a separate world power could actually protect other countries under their own autonomous nuclear umbrella, you got to build nukes. That's it. You have to build nukes. If Iran had nukes, then the region would be much more stable. Iranian population would be safer right now. Okay, they wouldn't be getting fucking bombed. Israel would not even be able to do half of the shit that it's doing in the region. That is precisely the reason why Israel never wanted Iran to get nukes.
He's a Marxist adjacent democratic socialist, but none of that is why anyone is attacking him. Piker is at the heart of a fight about what direction the Democratic Party is going to take in the near future, because Piker represents the rapidly rising pro-Palestinian left, a faction that could become a kingmaker within the Democratic Party, because today, 2/3 of Democratic voters are pro-Palestinian. But
Is this guy
most Democratic
No, he's not. He's not an op.
elected officials
What are you talking
are
about? He's showing full context of my statements. Why would that be an op? My ops, you can tell when my ops are my ops because they don't show, no matter how like crazy something might seem, even with the Iran statement, right? They would never show the full context of what I'm talking about.
pro-Israel. We are in a battle over who the Democratic Party is going to be, and Piker is at the heart of that as one of the loudest, most pro-Palestinian voices out there. He's pro-Palestinian in a way that's shocking to some people. Piker has said that Hamas is 1,000 times better than Israel. That is not wrong. Israel's decades of genocide, murder, apartheid against Palestinians is far worse.
Israel is an apartheid state.
Piker has said he has no issue with Hezbollah. Again, this is shocking to people who don't know a ton about the situation, but Hezbollah was created in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon. It exists to protect Lebanon from Israel. Hezbollah would not exist if Israel had not repeatedly attacked Lebanon. They are defenders of a small nation that cannot protect itself against an Israeli army that is funded by the US. People are horrified by Piker saying these things about Hamas and Hezbollah, partly because they hear a sanitized version of who Israel is.
Many people have just never encountered my worldview in America.
As Piker said on Pod Save America, Israel creates October 7th for Palestine all the time.
I'm a harm reduction voter. I'm a lesser evil voter, and therefore I would vote for Hamas over Israel every single time because I'm looking at the situation as a paramilitary organization that has like a political party as well, a Politburo as well, that is entirely comprised not as an alien force, but of orphaned children that have, had their parents killed by an apartheid state that has been dominating the lives of Palestinians for 80 years at this point. And they've done a genocide at this point as well. But like it started off with the Nakba and has only evolved as technology has gotten better to become more heinous. Gaza is this hermetically sealed area that many people correctly point to as the world's largest open-air prison before October 7. I think that Hamas's tactics, which I oppose at times, right, are secondary to this conversation because it's like placing a lot of emphasis on the Nat Turner rebellion instead of talking about the much larger, much more consequential, much bigger harm that chattel slavery was to black people, to like sell black people and to rape them and treat them as though they weren't human. I think that's a far larger systemic force that is going to make the Nat Turner rebellion look inconsequential in comparison to the greater harm. What Hamas has done, especially when there has been an October 7 times 1,000, if not more than 1,000 at this point, in the hands of Israel against the Palestinian population in its entirety. I mean, they're doing an October 7 to Lebanon right now as we speak.
People hear Hamas and Hezbollah and they say things like, violence is the problem. No one should be violent. And that drives me crazy. The central problem is not violence. The real problem is injustice. The reason why you have violence is because you have injustice, oppression, genocide, apartheid, and the intentional prevention of a Palestinian state, thus keeping the Palestinian people suffering in cruel captivity. Oppressed people have a moral and a legal right to fight back.
It's kind of unbelievable that such a high-profile mainstream political figure like Toure is straight up not only saying like, look at all the defensible things that Hasan has said, but also on top of that, like actively saying like, you know, militancies have a right to resist militarily against occupied force, against a force that's occupying their lands, their territory, killing them. Doesn't he go on like MSNBC and stuff? Like that's usually it's kind of cool.
But Piker is shocking to some because Americans have been fed a narrative that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, and they're a victim surrounded by enemies all around them, valiantly fighting back. It's like they want people to see Israel as like a white person who's moved into a rough black neighborhood and they're constantly being attacked by their neighbors because they're wild.
That's a really, I'm going to steal that analogy. That's a good one. So does Mehdi, to be fair. No, Mehdi does not. What are you talking about? Mehdi famously does not defend militant resistance. There's no metric, no category of barbarism by which Hamas could be considered more terroristic than the IDF. The atrocities committed by the IDF in just the month after October 7 dwarf those committed by Hamas in its entirety of its 40-year existence. There is no comparison. It's true. Toure is an OG hip-hop journalist. He's interviewed a lot of great people. Yeah, that's a great take.
Brown people. Yeah. No.
It's not realizing that he's not the only one who read Wretched of the Earth. Okay,
No.
Calm down.
Israel is a settler colonialist project that's captured native people and taken their land and attacked the neighboring.
It's not about the knowledge, chatter. Many people have the knowledge. It's about the courage to say the truth. Many people that have the knowledge would much rather deny the truth, would much rather refuse to say the truth, especially if they have a foot in with mainstream publications. That's the difference.
in countries because they view perpetual war as good for them politically. They also dream of expanding the borders of Israel. The image of Israel as the most aggressive nation in the Middle East, practicing apartheid, committing genocide, that can be hard to grapple with if you've grown up in the American news media's Israeli-centric bubble.
Israel is an apartheid state.
Piker's comments on Palestine and Israel are shocking to people who don't know the true story of what's going on. But he's not wrong. Piker says Judaism does not equal Zionism.
It actually serves a very anti-Semitic purpose when you tie Judaism falsely to an apartheid regime doing a genocide. You think in the interim period it might be an adequate defense. You might be able to even silence some critics. But all you are doing is falsely smearing the Jewish population. For the record, it doesn't even work anymore. This was like early on. With the crimes of a nation state that does not have the Jewish population's best interest in mind. Guys, it's because I don't have a fucking beard, okay? Jesus Christ. Why do you guys are literally babies, okay? You know, this chat reminds me of those videos of like father shaves his beard for the first time and watch what the baby does next, okay? Literally, that's you, okay? That's you. Every time you see a different length of facial hair, you go, wow, you look so different. A bunch of babies with no object permanence, and I'm the father.
He says Palestinians are not shown as human in Western media.
They refuse to show Palestinians as humans, and they have very successfully been able to dehumanize them. There are voices in Israel, there are voices out there who see it, who see the brutality, who see the endless humiliation that Palestine.
Yeah, they made fun. Remember when Destiny and all of the psychopaths, many of which are now noticeably quiet about the issue of Israel. Have you guys noticed that? Maybe not Destiny, he's still pro-Israel, but so remember when everyone made fun of me for crying during this leftovers video where they were like, how many centrist, apolitical, drama farming, How many centrist, apolitical, drama farming dip made fun of me for this for months on end?
Palestinian people have endured. And I stand with them, and I don't care. I will always stand with them, even if there is a moment of violent retaliation. Okay? They have nothing.
He says Israel is practicing collective punishment.
You said Israel has a right to defend itself.
But they didn't even do it when it happened. They went back like a year to accuse you of faking it at the time. Yeah. Yeah, they said I was faking it. They said I was like a bitch for crying. A lot of these clips are right after October 7th that Toure is using, by the way.
Absolutely zero people think that this is a ridiculous statement. However, how Israel is defending itself is collective punishment. Collective punishment in the form of depriving 2.2 million people of electricity, of water, of food.
He says Israel is an apartheid state.
Israel is falling out of favor because many Americans and many people in the Western world are now finally seeing the truth that Israel is an apartheid state that is built around an ethno-supremacist ideology and that Israel is doing a live-streamed genocide. This is the reason why Israel has fallen out of favor and has become a pariah state on the global stage.
He says Israel could stop the genocide right now.
Please explain how the Democrats can stop the genocide right now. It's this, okay? It's this. This is a telephone, okay? You pick up the telephone and you call up Benjamin Netanyahu and you say, hey, cut it out. No more weapons. Click.
And
The reason why America is so invested in Israel is because it is a permanent destabilizing factor in a resource-rich region.
there is now a coordinated campaign to smear this man's name and make him seem too toxic to be in polite democratic society.
If the name Hasan Piker just came across your timeline for the first time, it's probably because there has been a coordinated centrist smear campaign against this man for being right about Israel. Hasan has become a more prominent figure on the left in recent years. This has led centrist Democrats and their billionaire donors to accurately assess that Hasan is a threat to their grip on power.
This is not coworker Ludwig. This is friend Ludwig.
They failed to stop
This is Ludwig if he wasn't evil.
Zohran Mamdani from becoming mayor of New York. So now they're trying to make sure that his success can't be
This is
repeated
friend wig.
elsewhere. They dislike Hasan because Hasan is not a politician. He cannot be bought and paid for by the donor class. And he is entirely supported by his own follower base, meaning the only way they can take him down is by making him radioactive to leftist candidates. So don't fall for it.
We are told that this campaign is coming from moderate Dems and the centrist group
Budwig. Yeah, that was Budwig, not Chudwig.
But I think it's actually fueled by the pro-Israel lobby, the likes of AIPAC and groups like it. They want to demonize Piker and make him seem too toxic for prime time, and thus to silence him. Not because anyone thinks he's going to run for office, but because he is an influential voice in progressive media at a moment when the Democratic Party
thank you for 10.
might be at a tipping point over Israel and Palestine. Over the last 5 years, Democratic voters have become extremely pro-Palestinian. We now have an NBC poll saying 67% of Dems sympathize more with Palestinians than with Israelis. Gallup found 59% of Dems sympathize more with Palestinians. 76% of Dem voters now support an independent Palestinian state. Meanwhile, Democratic elected leadership remains extremely pro-Israel, in part because the pro-Israel lobby supports those who support Israel and attacks politicians who dare call a genocide a genocide. So we have a Democratic Party that's in the wilderness and trying to find itself and is deeply divided on the issue of Israel and Palestine. So will the party continue to drift in the direction that the elected officials and the pro-Israel
Ludwig isn't evil. He's cowardly. You shouldn't suggest someone is evil even if you're joking. Oh my God, calm down. It's a very common fucking theme on the internet. When people say like Markiplier is not evil Hasan, it's a joke, man. It's not. I'm not being serious. I like that you actually hit him with a more serious criticism than what I was doing. I was joking. You're now actually reaching biting criticism territory in your unbelievably woke statement. I was joking. You're being serious.
Lobby wants? Will Dems nominate a moderate like Gavin Newsom who won't call it a genocide? Or will the party slide in the direction that the voters want and become more pro-Palestinian and look maybe to a candidate like AOC who's unafraid to call genocide what it is? AOC may seem like a long shot to some, but in a Democratic Party where being pro-Palestinian is a crucial voting issue, like an issue that could make or break who voters choose, do not rule out AOC. But as the pro-Palestinian
Rams
left
cake, thank you for the
rises
25
in the form of
bones.
AOC and Zohran Mamdani and millions of Democratic voters, the pro-Israel lobby wants to silence them. They can't have the pro-Palestinian left become an important voice, so they're trying to silence Pike.
People still bite the funeral bait so hard. I mean, who cares?
Now.
Who gives a shit?
Attacks on him are not because he's too wild. His comments are fairly common on the pro-Palestinian left. It's because a specific pro-Israel faction of the Democratic Party does not want him to be heard. When Democrats say Piker is bad for the party, the question is, bad for what party? Bad for the party that Democratic voters want? Or bad for the party that AIPAC and the donor class wants? The Democratic voter base has become pro-Palestinian, and the Israel lobby is pushing back, trying to squash their influence. But if the Democratic Party is going to represent Democratic voters, it has to be pro-Palestinian. Piker speaks for Democratic voters on this issue. Will Dems listen to their base and respond to what their people want? Or find a way to sabotage themselves again? Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment all the things. I'll be back tomorrow.
That was a great video by Toure, by the way. That was a banger. I've never seen such a clear defense of my positions. That was dope.